Right, Dave, there's lots of bivvies out there that claim to be quick erect,
Yeah.
but I think you've got something here that takes that to the next level, am I right?
Oh yeah, this is ultra fast. This is the Force 8 speed light, literally straight out of the bag. Lift that up, hold there, flick him up into position. It's as simple as that. He's up.
Wow. That's literally seconds.
Oh,
isn't it?
seconds, yeah. And then it's just a matter of pegging it out and tweaking it round, and it's done. Ground sheets in, doors on, porches on.
Wow.
In seconds. Okay, so once you've flicked it all into place, just these two just fold out, plug into the hole at the bottom. That's just for your porch. Simple as that. And there's a little clip on there just to tension it all up. One there.
Brilliant. That's pretty impressive. What?
So
45 seconds, something like that?
If that, it's just
Wow. It
flick
really
and
is
go.
a fast erect shelter, isn't it? Cool.
So we peg it all out and have a look at the door and the other features on it.
Okay, so we've got the shelter up, Dave.
Yep.
Let's just have a look at a few of the features, shall we?
Yep. Well, obviously it's got the built-in ground sheet, which is a big bonus. You know, a lot of people don't like creepy crawlies, and if you get rain seeping through your swim and that, obviously it's all you're sort of encapsulated within there. It's got quite a small footprint, so it's a good bivvy for tight swims. If you're just doing quick overnighters, you're not bringing a lot of stuff with you. You know, it's perfect size for a bed chair and a couple of bags.
It's surprising actually, because it looks like quite a small bit of kit. I mean, it is nice and compact, like you say, but actually when you do look inside, the bed chair's still going to go relatively far enough back in there, and there's enough room for a few bags and all the rest of it, isn't there?
You've still got enough room, and a lot of stuff goes under your bed anyway. So no, it's big enough, but because of the sort of long, narrow footprint, you can get it in those smaller swims. On the ground sheet, the door is actually sort of encapsulated within it, so that when you roll the door down, it all goes up into a separate section of ground sheet, which is handy because then you're not trampling all over it.
And, much tidier as well.
Yeah,
isn't it?
you've got mud and rain and what have you inside. So that just pops open, and then on the door, you've got a two-door option. You've got your clear door and your green door. You know, so you can put.
I notice it zips from the bottom up as well.
Well,
isn't it?
Yes, that's a handy little feature really, because although you've got your porch to stop any rain dripping into the front of it, you know, if the rain's absolutely driving in, you can sit on your bed chair, you know, with your head about this height, and looking out sort of a pillbox door.
Perfect.
The rain's bouncing off the front of it, nothing's coming in.
Spot on, absolutely spot on.
Yeah, like I say, for quick overnighters and tight swims, and it's just the speed of it is the thing. You know, if you want something that's up like that, that's the kiddie. Okay, put together a little bit of spod mix. I don't go mad with my spod mix. Cell boilies, break up a few of these. I like to put a bit of feed out in my mix rather than just sort of ground baits and stuff. A few whole ones in there as well. I'll break up some more in a minute. Some response pellet. This breaks down fairly quickly, gives off a nice oily, slick and a lot of flavour. Also, I'm going to add to that some Cloud 9 high impact ground bait. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dampen the finished mix, and that's going to help hold it in the spod and stop it all falling out on the way out there. Let's get him off there. This has also got a lot of feed and very strong smell. And last but not least, some crushed hemp bag and stick mix. I do like crushed hemp all over my trousers. All I can do then is just mix all that up together. add a bit of liquid. You can just use water or a particle syrup or anything flavoured you like. I'm just going to put a little bit of water in there. It's not to make it into a wet ground bait, but just enough to make it a little bit sticky. So you can see that's still quite dry, but it's not as dry enough to fly out of the spod on a cast. And there you go, simple as that. Okay, and you can see here when I load the spod, never load them right up to the end here. Always like 2/3 fillet, because what happens, obviously to fly properly, you need the weight at the front. So if you load them right to the back, you're getting as much weight at the back as you are at the front, and then it starts to wobble. The back tries to overtake the front in flight. But if you always leave a gap at the top, that'll ensure that all the weight's at the front end. I'm just going to drop one in the margins here so you can see it coming out and see what it's going to look like on that clear gravel out behind the marker, over that nice light gravel. So when this goes in, it's going to go in obviously with more force than that, turn up, and you can see all of that trickling down. It's leaving that nice big cloud in the water there. Obviously any fish passing through those mid layers are going to follow that down. But you can see now that each spodful doesn't deliver a lot of feed, just the odd little bit of broken boilie, a few pellets, but there's a lot of attraction coming off of that. And that'll bring the fish in, get them grubbing around for more. Nice bright hook bait right in the middle of that. It's almost unfair to cast out.
Right, Dave, I know one of the things you've been working on recently is the new hardcore range of luggage. Yeah. What's that all about then?
Well, basically it's a sort of a more upmarket, more robust range of gear. Sort of one of each product, but sort of up-spec'd. You know, stronger zips, better material. Yeah, it's quite frustrating. You spend a lot of money on a decent rod bag and the zip's gone 3 months later, and you know you've got bungee clips around it.
Absolutely.
So I've sort of put a bit more time and effort into sourcing the right materials and just putting, you know, up-spec'ing it really.
The problem is on a rod holder in particular, if your main zip goes, that product is now completely useless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it? You can't bodge that. You can't get by.
No. So I say these have got a lot stronger, sort of heavy-duty zips on, and it's more than just a rod bag really. It's, you know what I'm like when I fish, I'm quite mobile. I like to turn up at a lake as well, and I like to be fishing straight away. So with that in mind, this contains everything you need to be up and running. Yeah, obviously, being a rod bag, you've got your rods in there, all set up ready, and they're individually padded, so that they're not clattering together. Yep. You know, you're not going to lose a ring lining or anything. You know, everything's there, well protected. Areas for spare rods, marker rods, what have you.
So you can get 3 in with reels.
You get 3 in with reels and then 3 in without.
Yeah. Which you won't necessarily need 6, but 3 and 2, you know.
Yeah, but you
just don't know, do you?
Yeah, there's always bits and pieces you can put in there, and if you don't, you don't have to.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, you don't have to
put stuff in there because it's there, but it's there if you need it. And on the outside, the top here, we've got a pouch, and this will take, like your bank sticks. You know, if you use buzzer bars, your buzzer bars will slide straight in there. So you're not rummaging around in anything else. It's not like inside your barra stuff. You haven't got to unload your barra to get to anything. That all goes in there. You've got a bigger pouch here, which you can put slings, landing nets, you know, sort of the floating retainer sling and a landing net in there, or a sack, or you know, whatever you want. Then, should you gather fish straight away, you're sort of ready to go. We've even put this little pouch on the side. This is a handy little idea. Pop your leads in.
Yeah,
spare leads, because that's always the one, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, when you pack up, you take your leads off so you don't damage your rods. You don't think about that. You get there, you put everything up, you think, oh no, the leads are right in the bottom there.
A number of times I've had leads just rattling around in the car, because you get in the car at the end of a session.
That's it. Always in your pocket.
What do you do with them?
Yeah. And also, you can chuck a baiting needle with maybe 3 pop-ups already on it in there, and a little strip of hair stops or something. You know, anything, just the little bits you need.
So you literally can just get fishing straight away.
You can just take this straight off the top of the barra and be fishing. Because you're not always going to end up where you start. No. You know, you might just want to get angling, and after a few minutes you think, oh actually, no, I want to be over there. You don't have to repack the barra. So everything you need to get yourself going, it's all inside there.
Brilliant. Right, Dave, I can't help notice that one of the themes in the hardcore luggage range is that one bag fits all, if you like. You've got everything in there.
Yeah.
I believe this is the hardcore heavy-duty carry-all, and it looks, well, not a beast actually, it's quite compact, but it looks like it's going to take quite a bit of kit.
The idea of this for me is that I can get all of my other stuff in it, my fishing stuff, my spare clothes, anything else. You know, I'll take this, the food bag, a bait bag, and the rod bag. Pretty much covers everything. The inside compartment is quite huge. You know, you can get anything you need in there.
It's all deceptive actually, because from the outside it looks like just the right size, but then obviously you come inside and it's a big old space.
I mean, I can get all my tackle bags in there, you know, binoculars, even this, which is one of the Thermotex jackets. You know, it packs down.
Oh, okay.
You know, that comes out, and that's a full protection system jacket. Right. But it also comes with loads of pockets, pockets everywhere. So, you know, if you're a tidier person than I am, and you want everything in the right place, then there's compartments. You know, once you've got a home for everything, there's plenty of room to slide it all in. There's even big pockets on the top here, you know, for iPads, phones, stuff like that. You want to be protected, because obviously you've got this hard top. So, you know, anything like electrical stuff, put it under there, and it's protected from the hard top. And on the outside, pockets all the way around. And what I tend to do is I pack on the outside pockets stuff that I'm going to need straight away, you know, rather than having to delve through, because I'm not the tidiest of anglers. Everything gets thrown in there. But say, for example, I know that it always in this pocket, there'd be my sort of normal tackle stuff that I might need straight away.
So it's instant access.
Instant access on the outside of it without going rummaging on the inside.
But then over the course of the session, the things that you are going to need are obviously still in there.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And also, like, you know, I've got, that's always pop-ups. You know, always the right-hand pocket, whatever I use, right-hand pocket is pop-ups. So even in the dark, I can find my pop-ups. I know where everything is. And like I say, it's just a big, spacious, very strong, very well-made bag that's got room for everything, basically. You know, I don't think I'd ever take anything, the amount of stuff fishing that wouldn't fit in there.
Right. Lights on the top as well, with obviously the protection there, but also that could perhaps double up as a bit of a storage area, bivvy table.
I use it as a bivvy table, all the time.
I know you like to read when you're on the banks. You've got a book, or more recently a Kindle or something.
I have, I'm mad for my Kindle. Absolutely. And quite often, once I'm set up somewhere like this now, the tackle box will stay on the tackle pouch will stay on the top there, and maybe a pot of pop-ups and bait and needle and scissors.
So you don't need to keep going in and out of the bag anyway,
just like a table, the bits you need.
Brilliant. I know we were chatting before about most anglers these days seem to use a barrow, but even so, occasionally you're going to have to carry luggage, even if it's just from the car into the house, but sometimes further. So, you know, it's still important to note that nice big chunky straps. Shoulder strap.
Definitely. We put a lot of thought into making sure that it was comfortable. Although, like you say, generally people use barrows, but if you had to carry it, it is comfortable to carry. I mean, even somewhere like here, you know, you can park, I mean, what's that, sort of 30 metres away from your swim, but you're not going to set up a barrow to do 30 metres. Of course not.
No, but you still have to get your gear.
So you've got to get it here. And so if you've got something that's only made for a barrow, you're stuffed a little bit, you know, to get it that, you know, and sometimes over fences and ditches and dales or whatever, you know. So yes, it's a very comfortable product to carry, even when it's fully loaded.
Super. I like that. That a lot.
Yeah, good bit of kit. That recast of all the rods seems to have done the trick anyway. 2 bites in very short order. Sometimes just 3 fresh baits and slightly different spots can be all it takes. It feels like a mid-20, and then you get them in the net and they're mid-doubles. That's not a bad thing, it's all good sport. Hopefully this one will be the 130 in there. Be a bit like winning the lottery if it was. Oh, he's a fat little fella. He's not a bad one. There he is. We got him. Oh, I reckon he's the biggest one yet. There he is. God, he's got a belly on him. Reminds me of the old Italian strain. Not that you see many of them anymore, but right little fatty. Excellent.
Right, Dave, one of the questions we get asked the most in the magazine is what rods to buy. Namely, people don't know whether to go for like a 3.5 pound set or for a 2.5, 2 3/4 pound set because they're not quite sure whether they're going to be fishing on this lake or that lake.
Yeah, I understand that.
I believe you've kind of got the answer here.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using these rods today, and they're lovely rods, and these are 3.5 pound test curve, but each one comes supplied with another tip, an alternate tip, which is a 2 3/4 pound test curve.
So you get the two tips.
You get the two tips with one rod.
Right.
So I mean, the beauty of that, obviously, like you say, if you know, maybe you do fish somewhere like here, and the fish are at range, and you want to be using the 3.5, but your local lake might be a little much smaller pond, and you're going to feel a bit outgunned with a 3.5, and you want a nice sort of playing action or a bit of floater fishing or stalking or whatever. So rather than have to invest in two completely different setups, you just swap the tip over and you're using a 2 3/4 pound rod.
Brilliant. So in effect, you're buying one set of rods and you're almost getting a set free, if you like.
You're getting the option of another set. Yeah, you know, you're getting two different types of rod, and also, I mean, if you're using the same reels for both of your types of fishing, which most people are going to be doing, you haven't got the ache of taking the reels off, putting them on another rod. All you simply do is take your leader off, wind the line through, change the tip, put it back on, and you're fishing straight away.
What about the actual performance of them as individuals? So the 3.5, it's the same butt section as the 2 3/4.
Yes.
You're not losing anything on performance though.
No, I mean, I've been using these for this session, and I'm fishing at quite, probably over 100 yards. So there's a fair chuck, and they've been performing perfectly. And with the softer tip, I mean, they're a lovely rod close in, for stalking and fish under the tip and that, with the 2 3/4 tip on them.
Excellent.
So no, I don't think I lose anything really.
So that could be the answer then, if you're not sure what rods to buy.
Absolutely. Yeah. You buy them, buying one rod and getting two options.
Excellent. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, these are the Speedrunner reels. They're a lovely sort of medium-sized reel. You don't always need to be using a clonking great big pit reel, especially when you're fishing distances like this up to sort of 80, 90 yards. You can do that comfortably with one of these. The beauty of these over a big pit reel is the sort of finesse you get with it. With a smaller reel, you get that nicer engineering. Everything's so smooth. The line lays absolutely perfect. The gearing's nice, and when you do hook a fish on them, you've got this front clutch, and it's just so smooth. You don't always get that with a bigger reel. It's lovely to play fish on. Casts well, and like I say, it's got that lovely smooth retrieve. It's also got this integral free spool system, just a simple flick of a switch, and you can adjust the tension for that on the back there. You can just hear that purring, that really is a lovely smooth reel. Okay, I'll just run through briefly the rigs that I've been using over this session. 3 main rigs. To be honest, I've got 3 main rigs that I use everywhere I go. Firstly, we'll look at a bottom bait rig. This is very, very straightforward. It's a short length of coated braid, stripped at the end to make a supple section, no knotted, with a fairly long hair. I don't like to fish baits too tight to the bend of the hook. I like it long so that on ejection it can fold back and leave the hook in the mouth. A standard bottom bait, straight out the bag, and a small piece of buoyant fluoro corn, plastic corn, on the top just as a little sight bob. And that will just sit that rig up. It won't pop it up, it's not buoyant enough for that, but it'll just sit it upright like that on the bottom. When the fish takes that in and then blows it out, you've got that flexible section there so the hook can swim around, catch a hold, and the force of the bait being ejected on that longer hair will set that hook in nicely. So very, very standard. but very, very effective. Now here we have a pop-up rig. Now I'll use this rig on lakes. Quite often I'll use a 360 rig, but a lot of lakes you're not allowed to use long shank hooks or curved shanked hooks, and this is a perfect way of getting around that. As you can see there, if you concentrate on the hook first, I've extended the hook shank with a little bit of shrink tube and just kinked it over there. And the idea of that is that that hook will always twist as soon as it touches anything and take a hold. As soon as it comes in contact with the carp's mouth, that's going to turn over. Now I'm using the top of the shrink tube there as the backstop for this sliding ring, and on the front I've put a very small rubber stop. But it's very important to put this right at the top of the hook, so that when this rig sits on the bottom, the bait is above the hook. So as the fish comes down to the bait, all they see is the bait, and as they suck it in, the hook follows the shape of the bait into the mouth. And on ejection, that ring will fold back to there and pull that hook into position. And I've simply counterbalanced it at the end of, again, a small stripped section on the coated braid with a little blob of lead putty. So when that rig goes down on that stiffer boom, it will settle on that putty and sit exactly upright with the bait masking the hook, and that will fold over on ejection, and the only thing left in the carp's mouth will be the hook. Another rig that I've got a lot of faith in, and the third of my trio of take anywhere rigs, is a zig rig. Couldn't be simpler to try an effective zig rig. I get asked a lot of questions about how do you do zig rigs, you know, what do you use, what materials do you use. It is really a very, very simple rig. Monofilament for the hook link of choice. I try not to use pre-stretched ones because they're a bit fragile, so a basic monofilament hook link. A short hair, as opposed to my normal style of fishing where I like a long hair to fold over. Short hair, two very small pieces of foam. I find black and yellow to be the most effective combination, plain black coming a very close second. The hook is a size 8 super specialist. Now I use that for fish of all sizes. I've caught fish from 8 pounds to I think 46 pounds, my biggest zig caught fish. My personal best common actually. All on a size 8 super specialist. And it is just a case of a simple no knot on there. The only tricky part is obviously when you feed the line back through the eye from the no knot, you're feeding the length of the hook link, which can be anything up to 10 or 12 foot. And in general, I like as a starting point to fish my zig rigs about mid-water, and then if like today it warms up and you think the fish are rising in the water, add a foot, add a foot, add a foot until you get the first bite, and then you know exactly what level they're sitting at. Important to use buoyant foam with this, obviously, because you've got a lot of mono and the hook and you don't want it bowing down in the water. But just test it in the margins, and as long as it stands up straight, that's good to go.
Right, Dave, bivvies. Yeah, there's one in particular that you've used, well, every time I've been out with you recently. I know it's hugely versatile. You've got it in the bag. I have. So take it away, let's have a look.
Yeah, okay, it's a bivvy I've designed myself actually, which is why I'm so proud of it. The idea behind it is that one shelter does all. Right. Does everything from basic pram-wood umbrella style shelter right the way out to a full extended front.
So everything's in there.
Everything.
And we're going to have a look at it from start, how you use it.
Start to finish.
Right the way through all the seasons, if you like.
Okay, it's a 3-section pole pram hood, which is quite a basic, well-known concept. Easy to put up, just unroll them, lay one side out that side, one side out there, click the poles together. 3 on each side. All go nice and easy. To make sure it's all nice and flat and untwisted before you start, it's going to make your life a lot easier. That's it as far as the pole's concerned.
Is that what makes the pram hood so popular and so good then, the fact that it just goes up in no time?
Goes up in no time, and the angle on the poles makes it so much more rigid than a hooped pole.
Right, got you.
You've got a formed shape on there, which is obviously more weatherproof. Put the retaining clip in there, and that gives you your ideal dimension there and the perfect height.
Well, it's all tensioned up now, isn't it?
And then simply you just take the poles working from the back. You've got 3 different poles, one with a spike on it for the back, the medium sized one for the middle, and the long one for the front. And if you notice, some have got single and double. That's an inline system, so the poles are all straight.
Oh, so they fit nice and snugly,
rather than being side by side. So you simply get your spiky pole, click that on the back.
So that's a frame support system then?
Yep, and that goes in a little retainer at the back. And then you just straight forward, put your poles in. It's as simple as that. It really is so simplistic to put up.
That is it, yeah. It's incredible. Absolutely. So then it's just a matter of pegging it out?
Just a matter of pegging it out. Start from the back always and work your way round. Just seems to be the better way to get the ideal tension on it.
And I know this is pretty much how you use it, isn't it? Just in its
Most
shell,
of the time I use it like this, but I do use it all through the year. So the accessories that come on it, I get to use them all at the right time of the year.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at all of those in turn then.
Yeah.
Just let you set it up and get it ready, and we'll do that.
No problem.
Right, so there you have it, Dave, the Hardware Bivvy. In effect, it's kind of 4 bivvies in one, if you like, isn't it?
It is. In fact, it depends how you look at it. It's probably more than that. It's probably nearer 6, because obviously now I've got the peak on. I could have the peak without any front. That's an independent zip.
Yeah.
I could have the peak with the mosquito front. So, you know, there's probably 6 different ways you can put this lot together.
Perfect. So it is literally a bivvy for every carp angler for every season, isn't it?
From an umbrella system right up to as it is now, full protection.
Really sturdy.
Oh, they're solid.
You know, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean, that's because of the bend in the poles.
Right, okay.
You know, if you have these pre-formed poles, it's pushing against itself, and then you've got the front to back tension bars.
Yep.
You know, and it really does make it a solid, rigid bivvy.
And I know you're very proud of it, quite rightly.
Yeah.
You've developed it from scratch, and
Yeah.
I know the attention to detail is something that you were
All
very
the way
keen on,
from,
isn't it?
Yeah, from start to finish. I mean, like the material itself is the best material to get hold of. This is, it's got a hydrostatic head on it of 20,000 mil, which means basically you could put a column of 2 metres of water on any one spot before there was any chance of that pushing through, which is obviously not going to happen.
No, but it shows how good the material is.
What it could hold. And all over the whole bivvy. I mean, down to the stitching, the tape sealing, even the pegging points, they're all reinforced pegging points. You know, there's nothing more annoying than you spend a lot of money on a bivvy and you're pegging it out a bit tight in the wind and bang.
Well, you do, you have to peg it under tension, don't you? So you need those to hold up.
If you're setting up in big winds, it's under a hell of a lot of tension. So yeah, there's not a single point I don't think that's been overlooked in the construction of this.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very proud of it. All right, we're sort of getting into the evening, everything's chilling off a little bit, and the fish have gone on a little bit of a feeding spree. I think I've had 3 bites in about the last half an hour, which is always the way because I was just eating my dinner, and then as soon as I took the first mouthful, the first rod was away. One came off, one's sitting down there in a recovery sling waiting to be photoed. And as soon as I whacked it back out there, it was away again. just like all the others, they don't seem to want to come in. It's a bit of a classic feeding time though, sort of an hour before dark. I think in all reality the fish have been up high in the water for most of the day. It's been quite warm at times. But they're certainly down there on the munch at the moment. Right, finally, after about 10 minutes of pumping, he's nearly in. Still enough light left to get it back out there for another one if we're lucky. We'll sort of come together this evening a bit. Bit of a feeding frenzy. Oh, no, he's still got a bit of life in him. Come on, fella. Leader knot's nearly on the reel. This time. These really shallow margins here make it well iffy for netting them. We got him. That's a better one. He's a lovely fish to end a very productive evening feeding spell with. Well, there's still time for a couple more maybe, but I'm happy with him. A lot better stamp than some of the previous ones. He's actually got a bit of weight in him, he has. Lovely fish. Perfect. Gorgeous fish. Perfect end to a perfect day.